Congratulations to the people of Abia State over the commissioning of the power plant project, which is projected to generate electricity independently to the people of Abia 24/7. You know what that means, a constant electricity. Kenneth Okonkwo, the former spokesperson to P2B presidential campaign, has come out to say that regarding the current situation in Nigeria of hunger and insecurity, that Mr. P2B would have sacrificed everything for Nigeria and P2B would have changed Nigeria, just as Andes Oti is changing Abia State. He said for over decades, the PDP was ruling in Abia State. They make people to believe that things are hard. Things are very hard to change. It is very hard to tie road. It is very hard to build this, to do this. But when the right kind of leadership came in, the person of Andes Oti, you could see that everything has beginning to change. It is not a miracle. It is leadership. The same thing would have happened to Nigeria. Kenneth Okonkwo insisted if P2B had become the president of Nigeria from May last year. Listen to what he said about this.
National issues, and I thank every viewer who has tuned in. It is not only hardship, it is hunger and hardship. The only thing that is worse than insecurity is hunger. You know, people killed Jesus Christ for mankind, and he forgave. But when he was hungry, and the tree that was created by God but when he was hungry, and the tree that was created by God to give him food could not give him food, he cursed that tree, and the tree died. Jesus, that forgave his killers, could not forgive hunger. You know what that means? A hungry man is an angry man. And when you're hungry, you are catapulted to the level of irrationality. You don't want to hear again what is causing your hunger. You simply attack the people whose responsibility it is to give you food. It is the responsibility of government by our constitution to cater for the security and welfare of the people. In Nigeria, farmers cannot go to farm because of insecurity. Nigerians are not lazy people. In the 60s, we were exporting agricultural products and we had surplus to eat. Then there was no mechanized farming. It was subsistence farming that was giving us foreign exchange. Now today we have mechanized farming, yet people are hungry. Today we have more people, yet people are hungry. Today more lands are accessible, yet people are hungry. More than 923,000 square kilometers of fertile land in Nigeria, yet people are hungry. What a level of incompetence and corruption of the leadership cadre of Nigeria. That is why I believe Mahatma Gandhi, when he said these are the things that destroy us: politics without principles, wealth without work, knowledge without character, business without morality, pleasure without conscience. You can see the leadership cadre in the midst of this obvious want, hardship, hunger, and depravity, degradation of the people, still living in opulence, living in pleasure, without conscience. Look at them telling people to be patient. And the person telling people to be patient is wearing a watch worth millions of naira. Look at them saying they have bad road, and then saying they need imported 165 million naira SUV to drive the bad road, which you could not give the people for almost 30 years of democracy. Pleasure without conscience. And then you're telling people who are hungry to be patient. And you're taking all the money. Look at the purported humanitarian ministry, where people are taking 3-point-something billion naira in purported consultancy services award. And the vulnerable people, even the 500 million naira they say is meant for them, wouldn't even have gotten to them because it was sent into private account. Nothing for the poor people. No food, because farmers cannot produce anymore because of insecurity. Look at Naira. Naira has collapsed, heading to 2,000 naira to $1. And the reason, look at the incompetence they are displaying. Throwing more dollar. You left your high office in the CBN and you went to the Bureau de Change and you say you will compete with them. You devalued Naira to their own price. And when they outsmarted you, you now use EFCC to start chasing them around for doing business. If you devalue it to 2,000, they will help you devalue it more because that's how they make profit. That is their business. And then you, that came down to their level to compete with them, you're down the one complaining. Who told you that you increase the value of your currency by struggling with the people of the parallel market or Main Street exchange or market? No! You increase the value of your currency by increasing your productivity and having self-sufficiency at home and having a steady export market. That is how you increase your productivity. Not throwing dollars to the market and you joining. As a matter of fact, the CBN in Nigeria now is the greatest parallel market operator because they left their policies that will show up the value of Naira and they are now trading with them, thinking if you saturate the market with dollars, then the price will come down. No. If you're bringing your dollars, they are absorbing it because that's what they trade in. That's what gives them profit. And they'll give you your Naira, which is now worthless. And it will continue to bring down the value of Naira. When you are a corrupt society, the CBN governor told you that $2.4 billion of Forex is a hoax, meaning it's fake. Out of $7 billion, they have $2.4 billion that would have been paid to people without doing anything. That is what is killing the Naira. You can imagine $2.4 billion that you paid to somebody without productivity. Change it to Naira. That's more than 2 trillion Naira without work. That is wealth without work. That is what is killing us. Corruption. People are making money without wealth. I told you about, in this government, 3-point-something billion naira. Consultancy service award. No work. You're telling people to give you the names of poor people and you're paying them 3-point-something billion. And the poor people, you are not paying them anything. No work. That 3-point-something billion will be used to purchase dollars. To be used. All those corruption that the governors are doing, local government chairmen, the ministers, and then the president embarking on an unending trip abroad, seeking for investors. He's spending dollars only. When he goes with that large entourage, dollars, and coming down empty-handed. That is what is making the dollars to appreciate. More than 200 powerful companies in Nigeria have left Nigeria since APC came to power. And you say you're running around spending our dollars searching for investors. Who is going to come into a country where there is no security, where there is no electricity, where there is no fuel? Do the first things first. Security, power in terms of electricity and fuel and all the engine propelling products. Then macroeconomic policy. The Naira has to be stable. You fix it at its value and make policies to make sure you support the value. that is when people will start taking you seriously. Power is the ability to do work. You don't have power, you don't have security, and you're telling people to come and do what? So please, the hardship, unfortunately, I can't see an end in sight, because these people are not doing the policies that will make it to end. When they purportedly removed oil subsidy, I said that was a very bad policy. That you don't remove subsidy except you have become sure that you have saturated the system with supply and that there is no monopolist. They did not listen. I told them then to reverse it, but I warned that because these people are arrogant in power, they will not listen. And I told them that they are going to pay a price for not listening. My advice then was for them to reverse it then. Because I told them they should be very careful in coming out of oil subsidy. Because you would have destroyed your economy before whatever policy you think you are implementing start bearing fruit. Because the price leap when you remove it completely without local supply to bridge it will be unsustainable. They didn't listen. And you know what? Today they are paying almost 1 trillion naira again in subsidy. Oh yes. You know why? They incompetently, after removing the subsidy, they valued naira by more than 200%. What that meant was that assuming 1 liter is $1, assuming, and then you remove subsidy, and people are paying 600 naira now. Of course, you and I know we pay 640, 660, depending on where you are. And then you devalue, and then you devalue the naira again. That thing you are getting for 550 or 650, if you devalue naira by 200%, you will now get it at 1,500. What does that mean? It means that fuel, if it's not subsidized, a liter will go to 1,000 plus. They know it's not sustainable. They are coming back now to understand why I said it's not sustainable. So they have to reintroduce subsidy. Now, after punishing people for 9 months, and I'm paying more in subsidy than you would have been paying if you hadn't removed it. So what have you gained? You have now bastardized your naira, and yet you're still paying subsidy. What have you gained? You have now made the earning of the workers worthless, because they cannot afford to go to their work because of price of fuel. So what have you gained? You say fuel subsidy is gone. Lie. Fuel subsidy is a lie. So what have you gained? So this government is aimless. Let me tell you, I still maintain I wouldn't have supported any presidential candidate who said he was not going to remove fuel subsidy. Why? Any presidential candidate that tells you he will not remove subsidy means that throughout his regime, he won't be interested in repairing our refineries. The question you should ask yourself is, how can a country that is about the 6th largest producer of oil be paying subsidy in the first place? So it's something that ought not to be existing in the first place. Whoever is the presidential candidate must show a plan how he would repair our refineries, license modular refineries, make us self-sufficient in production of oil so that we can export. If we are not importing, how would we be paying subsidy? So P2B's plan, which everybody knows, is shifting emphasis from consumption to production. So what P2B would have done better was that he would have insisted that our refineries work and fuel, refined product, produced to the self-sufficiency level, and we start exporting. And that will make him to stop paying the subsidy, not removing it to punish the people. Now, P2B wouldn't be going in a convoy of 100 vehicles, paying 100 drivers for each of those cars. It's not moving automatically. Somebody's driving it. P2B's son will not be wearing a wristwatch of millions, telling other people to be patient when they are hungry. P2B's daughter will not be telling people to be patient when they are hungry, when they are decorating her with more titles of Iya Begbero. Now, P2B will not buy 469 SUVs imported for the National Assembly members and be telling the poor people to be patient. When he was in Anambra State, he bought them innocent motors only and told them if they cannot manage this one, then they should trek. They were telling him that innocent motor, there is no brake. People will drive it, they will die. He said, okay, all the people that died, the people that are remaining will now manage the ones that are left. P2B would have lived a sacrificial life. You can see it in the way he lives. Nothing profligate. Let me tell you, when they say P2B is stingy, I tell you who P2B is. He is prudent. When they say the incumbent government is generous, I'll tell you who they are. They are profligate. So P2B is prudently stingy, and Tinubu is profligately generous. So I want you to understand the difference. We need a man who is more stingy than P2B to even survive this country now, because there is no money and we are owing. So he's the only person that can govern without money and leave the people with money. It happened in Anambra State. He met an indebted state and left the state a buoyant state. Part of the money he left the state, they used it to build international airports. So I want you to understand, he would have done things absolutely differently, using himself and starting his life and using his life as an example, sacrificial life, so that when he tells people to be patient, people will look at him and be patient. If the people are hungry, P2B will be hungry with them. If they are lacking, P2B will lack with them. If they are eating, P2B will eat with them. So he would have done things absolutely differently. You know, nothing good comes easy. If you want to get gold, you dig deep. For that which is got on the surface is of less value. We put it on ourselves to search for a new Nigeria. And in a country where the corrupt and incompetent people have really taken root, you would need to do more. This is no longer the time to keep calm. If you live at the mercy of your enemy, you are making your enemy merciless. Hear me, Nigerians. We should no longer live at the mercy of our enemies. These corrupt and incompetent leaders are the enemies of any given society, because they will kill the society if the society do not kill them. And when I mean kill them, I mean kill corruption. Buhari say, if you don't kill corruption, corruption will kill you. When the current NSA was the EFCC boss, he said, when you fight corruption, corruption fights back. So these corrupt leaders that Nigerians are fighting, they will fight back. But we cannot live at their mercy. We must continue, because our land is a blessed land. This is a land flowing with milk and honey, flowing with oil and milk. This is a land, a fertile land, flowing with gold and lithium and bitumen. Why would we be suffering in the midst of plenty? It is no longer then in our stars, but in ourselves. It is no longer in our prayers, but in our work. We are not doing enough work. faith without work is dead being alone. Time has come for us to rise and fight and reject and resist these incompetent and corrupt leaders. If you know you cannot give us the dividends of democracy, step aside. Step aside. So that the people who are competent, who have capacity, who have character, will take over the reins of leadership. My advice to the obedient: stand fast. Be steadfast in this marathon fight to fight for a new Nigeria, where men will not only that they will not be corrupt, but they will be incorruptible, so that our generation will witness Nigeria to be a superpower nation. We have what it takes, and with good leadership we will get there, where nobody will be hungry, where nobody will be left out, no child will be left out from going to school, where everybody will look tall, walk tall, and talk tall as a Nigerian in any part of the world he finds himself. And I believe, God helping us, that we will achieve it.